Alrighty, yeah. I wanted to come to you and do a quick video about some information that I came across that is quite disturbing. Extremely disturbing. And if you hear this, listen to this, and it doesn't invoke in you anger or sadness or some type of emotion, you might just be a sociopath or a narcissist, because there's no way that you can hear what I'm getting ready to tell you and not feel anything. It's insanity. So back in, so let me start by saying this is some of the root of systemic racism, right? And the reason why we still have the problems that we have, the reason why people still believe what they believe and have their thoughts about when it comes to people of color, even when it's up under the assumption that they're African, right? As long as your skin is this color, there it goes with the nonsense, right? It doesn't matter what your ancestry is, what your admixture is. It doesn't matter. They've already decided in their head who you are and what type of treatment you're worthy of, right? So back in 1851, there were psychiatrists, right? And as a psychology student, this is like, it doesn't surprise me, because the APA, if you look at who formed the APA and during what time it was formed, you can get a picture of what's really was going on and what their mindset was. So it does not surprise me that some insanity like this was allowed to be okay, right? So they came up with a terminology called drapetomania. That's one of the terminologies. They also had an additional terminology that is was dealing with, okay, so the other one, really quick, the other one is called, and I know I'm going to butcher it, but it's called dysastasia aethiopica. So aethiopica pretty much is what they call black people, right? So aethiopica. So dystasia aethiopica. And it says, in psychiatry, dystasia aethiopica, I got my computer here, which literally means Ethiopian, right? Or black, was an alleged mental illness described by American physician Samuel A. Cartwright in 1851, which proposed a theory for the cause of laziness among slaves. Okay, that's one. Now, mind you, this was something that was practiced, and it was a belief system. And let's just be real honest, it's still a belief system. It also ties into, oh, slaves can't feel pain, which is the reason why when we go to these hospitals or we express the pain that we're feeling and discomfort we're having in the body, that we're constantly being medically gaslit, okay? As if you don't have pain and you can deal with it, and they don't want to give us the proper medication to help us. They'll give us an aspirin or something like that. But someone of the European persuasion will get the whole lineup of medications that's available. So the other one was drapetomania, and it was a psychiatrist, right? Dr. Samuel Adolphus Cartwright, the same one, was pretty much saying that if slaves run away, they got a mental illness, because they should be happy being slaves. So, right there, right? Now, you have to think about the sociopathic and narcissistic behavior of racists, right? And the people who believe that. We often say, racism, racism, but we need to get to the actual mental disorder that is thriving this. And that mental disorder is sociopathic narcissism. Sociopathic narcissism, right? That is the root cause of racism. That is the root cause of people who think that it was okay to lynch other human beings, to murder other human beings, to burn other human beings, to do all the type of things that normally mentally functioning people would never think of because they lack empathy. They simply do not care about anyone but themselves. The reason why victims of sociopathic, narcissistic abuse have not received any type of reparations, any type of restitution is because sociopathic, narcissistic people are in charge of making those decisions, and they don't see a problem with what was done. However, they saw a problem with these sociopathic, narcissistic people who held other human beings in captivity, not being able to hold other human beings in captivity, and they compensated them with money. And people like to gaslight us and tell us, that was so long ago. We don't do that stuff anymore. It's not the same. You guys won't just get over it. Well, you know what? You cannot heal in the place where abuse is still happening, right? You can't get over abuse if you're still being abused. There's not even been a period of the abuse stopping for you to say, you know what, that was something that happened to me in the past. You know, I'll deal with those emotions. I'll heal that trauma. No, it's still happening every single day. Every single day. I'll give you an example. I went to my local thrift store like I always do. And I had a dark-skinned gentleman who's autistic with me. And it was raining, so I told him, I said, put your hood on. He had a hoodie, zip-up hoodie. Put your hood on so you won't get wet. And we step inside, and I'm here in front of the register. He's standing here. And I asked the lady, I said, what type of sales do you guys have today? This Asian woman, she's looking at him as if he's going to rob the store. She just kept looking and looking and looking and looking. And then she had so much attitude with me, just absolutely disgusting and nasty behavior towards me. And all I simply said was, hi, what type of sales do you have today, right? Kind, friendly. I'm just a normal human being, right? But because of my skin color and what she's been taught culturally about people who look like me, she had a problem. Now, I went and I was shopping and I noticed how pleasant she was with white people. Oh, she was pleasant. But with me, she was bothered. She didn't have time to answer my question. She was telling me, go look at the board. And I said, okay, this is my first time here. I've never been in the store before. I'm asking you a question. She said, or you can ask us. I'm like, I'm literally asking you the question. So I bought what I wanted. And then I confronted her and told her she needed to check her racism. Check it. Then she pulls this young white girl that was working there, literally physically pulls her in front of her because, oh, now she's frightened and upset because she's confronted with her nonsense, right? So now she's gone into the angry black woman trope. I'm the angry black woman, going to cause her harm because I simply told her, check your racism. Because again, narcissists cannot be reprimanded in their brain. How dare you say anything to them? And they switch to victim mode. So she wanted to say, I'm Asian. I wanted to say, okay, heifer, like, I got Japanese and Chinese ancestors too. So what's your point? But I told her, I said, listen, Asians are racist against black people, anti-blackness, and anti-darkness within their culture. So what are you saying to me, ma'am? And no, not all. Some of them have got out of the psychological programming, but the vast majority are still there. So since that did not work, she ran to the back. And it's ridiculous. If you're going to be bold enough to be racist, then you should be bold enough to receive that ass whooping that comes behind it. It simply is what it is. You cannot keep abusing people day in and day out and think that they're supposed to be happy with the abuse. That goes back to the diagnosis of drapetomania, where you should not want to escape being enslaved. And when you want to escape being enslaved, then you're the insane one. And although they say that that terminology is not used, it is absolutely used. Because when we say something about the narcissistic, sociopathic abuse that we experience in the form of racism, we are gaslit. We are told that we're insane. We're told to get over it. And then we go to the doctor and they diagnose us with high blood pressure, high cortisol levels, but they act like it's our fault. Oh, you got all that because you eating bad. No, I got all of that. Not me, but a lot of us got all of that because we are dealing with narcissistic, sociopathic abuse. A lot of us have anxiety because we are dealing with this sociopathic, narcissistic abuse. And our bodies is showing the signs of stress. Our minds is showing the signs of stress dealing with this abuse. I mean, imagine. The generations before you dealt with this abuse. The generations before them dealt with the abuse. You're dealing with the abuse. But when you deal with the abuse, you have to look back and recognize that your other ancestors also dealt with that type of abuse. And then you have these abusers in front of you telling you, can't you guys just get over it? It's equivalent to somebody smacking you upside the head. And you over there like, and they looking at you like, what? Did nothing happen? I didn't smack you. You need to get over it. What are you talking about? That was so long ago. So long ago, you just did it. You just did it. But this is what we deal with. This is this insanity we deal with day in and day out. And we also deal with the sociopathic, narcissistic abuse on these platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere where narcissists live and thrive, we deal with the abuse. These people can come up in the comment section and say some of the most racist statements, some of the most inhumane statements, and they are allowed to do it. We respond to their abuse and we are blocked. We are shadow banned. We are kicked off of the platform, all because we respond to the abuse. So clearly the messaging is that you should be happy with the abuse. Again, drapetomania. You should be happy with the abuse. And if you fight against the abuse, stand up against the abuse, even voice your experiences with the abuse, you are the problem, not the abuser. You're the problem. It is the constant gaslighting of people's experiences. And we even get gaslit by victims of abuse because they can't come to terms with the abuse. So they just don't want to hear it. You know, it's the whole, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. And because you're speaking out about the abuse that you endure, they're mad about it. It's like, why are you talking about it? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. Well, I'm sorry. It's not that easy. You not wanting to see it or hear it does not make the abuse stop at all. All right, y'all. I just wanted to come with y'all with that, voicing my opinion on the matter, and just the complete utter insanity. And I truly do believe that we should start putting the real name on what we're dealing with. Racism is not just racism. It is sociopathic, narcissistic abuse, right? Abuse. It's abuse. It is abuse, and it's not okay. We've gotten so used to this terminology, racism, which is like somebody, serving you a shit pie and putting a lot of whipped cream on it. All you see is the whipped cream. The word racism is the whipped cream, but let's get down to the bottom of it, which is sociopathic, narcissistic behavior. It is a mental disorder. These people lack empathy. They care about nobody but themselves. There is no fixing it. You can't grow out of it. It is a personality disorder. It is a cluster B personality disorder. Once you realize that, you understand how to start healing from the abuse and how to remove yourself and separate yourself from the abuser. All right, peace.